And I'm wearing the wrong trousers, the wrong glasses. Let me put on my other glasses. This is kind of like, you guys, this is kind of like me and my Mr. Rogers moment in the fact that I am taking off one jacket and putting on the other. So, hey, I said I would do a TikTok live at noontime on Friday. I always have to look. Friday, November 8th, and here I am, noontime, Eastern time anyway. Friday, November 8th, here I am for you people. I'm here for me too. Do not get me wrong. This is a lovely two-way street in the fact that it helps me to connect with you and it helps you to connect with me, hopefully. If it doesn't, you can just scroll along. But good day, Mars. Good afternoon, Dana Reynolds, and Tina and Melanie and Bina and that crazy cat lady KY. And everybody who's deciding to tune in at the moment for a TikTok live. If we haven't met before, I'll probably say this a couple of times because I like to be polite to the new folks. Hey, Judy, nice to see you. Good afternoon. And Melanie and Christine and Janet. Again, look at me. I'm Gen X, so I'm thinking that this is not only the Mr. Rogers portion of the show, but by me giving little shout-outs to people like Diane. Good morning, Diana. Good morning, Mary. And Christine, nice to see you as well. And Dee, I feel like I'm on Romper Room, and she had like the little thing. I guess she was looking through a mirror or something, but she was really seeing you. I don't know. I never quite got that even as a kid. But in case we haven't met before, my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered. Now, destination, what the heck? Destination because if my head, and this is why I have my phone propped up on a yoga block now. Yoga block. Did you hear how I pronounced block? That totally reminded me of my Boston upbringing. Mama Pepper, nice to see you. Destination decluttered because what has really helped me in not just decluttering my home, but kind of decluttering my life and making sense of the world and making progress moving forward when I used to feel stuck and not being able to do anything, is to think of life and pretty much anything I do as a road trip. So if you decide to hang out with me today, you will hear me talk about your destination. Where do you want to go? Where you are now? Notice how I'm kind of pointing at this little thing behind me. That's a very rudimentary thing that looks like a car on a road. Now, we all pretty much know how to drive a car. So I use that language. I am not a good speaker of foreign languages, but man, can I speak in the language of decluttering, of Gen X pop culture references, of musical references, and I endeavor to. My hope is that I am sharing information with you in a way that's kind of fun and simple and easy to understand, but also powerful. That it's not just silly little things, but it's stuff, there are steps you can actually take to get yourself moving in the right direction for you. Now, I will share, this is a live video, and this is the end of a really crazy day for a lot of us in the U.S. I'm not going to necessarily dwell on what is going on politically and socially in our country. However, I wouldn't be a human if I didn't say that it has affected me, and it may be affecting you too. And what I want you to know is that, to be very clear, I was thinking this might have been clear before in the fact that I am a woman of an age with short brown hair who wears glasses, not a lot of makeup, and I try to be kind and loving to everybody. I voted for the side of kindness and love and compassion and caring. So I am thrown by the fact that there are a number of people who do not feel the same way. So I say this to you, that if you are also somebody who is of that color or whatever, this is a good place for you. This is also then, in turn, not a place for haters. The haters are going to hate. So, boop, there we go. Step aside. Step aside, people don't matter. This is my space. This is my time. I want to say these are my people, but this is a place for us. There's a place for us. See, I told you I was going to bop into music because I can't help it. So Shannon in retrograde says, using your habit tracker for the first time this month, loving it. Shannon, this is where my what do I want to say? My Catholic upbringing, I feel like I got to be like, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I printed out my habit tracker I have yet to start it for this week. I'm going to start it maybe even today. Okay. I'm going to start it because I will admit, at the beginning of this month, which was just a week ago today, I was traveling. So I don't keep up on my mundane habits that I want to track as well when I'm traveling. I try to, and I actually did. I went for some walks. I drank some water. I went on a treadmill. I might have eaten a salad. I don't know. But then this week has thrown me for a loop. You know what? But then that's the thing I love. And Shannon, you're right that you can start it at any time. Now you can also decide. So this is a thing, just so you guys know. So Shannon is obviously on my free mailing list. And I say free mailing list because I don't want you to think you have to pay to get on my mailing list. But this habit tracker that I have, that I made myself, check me out, I made it myself. Last month was pretty good. I saved my last month's one to remind myself of what I was tracking, because when you pay attention to things and you remind yourself over and over again of these things that will make you feel good about it is, so Judy, if you haven't heard about that, go to that place where you can find the TikTok schedule. It's at the same place where you can find the link to the November decluttering party that we're going to have on Sunday the 17th. There's the link for that. So you'll find the way to download this. I call it Pavers and Potholes, because we are paving the way. See what I did there? Paving the way towards what we want, but occasionally we're going to hit a pothole. Now, I don't like to accentuate, like I could beat myself up about, oh, this week, whatever. I get it. It's been a rumbly road. So what I will do is I will start my habit tracker today. So Shannon, I am glad that you are finding that helpful. This is the only reason I show up on this side of TikTok. Is to help you all with what you're stuck with. Now, I can't help with everything, but I endeavor as a human to help people out when I can with what I have. You need a sandwich? I got a sandwich. You want some companionship? I can hang out with you. You need a little, just somebody to listen to you, to be there for you, to actually hear you. I can be here for you, you know? Now, Erin, isn't this interesting? Erin says, super excited to finish work today and start decluttering again. I love your little hearts, you know? And Christine is loving Erin's enthusiasm. Well, I am too. Because Erin, I don't think you'll mind if I say that I know you were struggling with your paperwork. It was a rough journey for you. It was like one of those, am I going to make it, type of things. Like, this is not good. And at least it sounds like you've gotten a little bit over a little bit of that hump, and maybe it's not so bad. My big piles of paper have dwindled down to more things. A lot of the piles of crap that's in our basement have dwindled. Not all of them. I mean, I literally made a list of the next steps we have to go, but it's all about that. So I am here to help you with where you're stuck clutter-wise. So, where are you stuck clutter-wise? Where are you stopped? Where are you not wanting to move forward? Where are you afraid to move forward? Where are you saying kind of like, I don't know where to go? Like you're sitting there in your car and you don't know even where to point your steering wheel. So you're not even trying because you don't know where you're going. Okay, now Shadows in Night says, I'm about 8 years behind in my paperwork. Okay. Yeah, this is also a no judgment zone as far as clutter and stuff like that. Okay, so you have 8 years behind in your paperwork. All right. So the neat thing is you can start now on this year's paperwork and work backwards. I would say work backwards. Start with the most important stuff first, because what I would not be surprised by in Shadows in Night, that a lot of the paperwork you have now is probably duplicates of things that they were sending you in those 8 years. Yes. Okay. So notice 8 years can feel like a lot. LA6436786753009 says there is so much. Exactly. And that is overwhelm. That is overwhelm. Let's help with the overwhelm. The opposite of overwhelm to me is going to be chunking it down. So notice what I did right then when I was chatting with Shadows in Night. 8 years worth of paperwork. Okay, start with all of your 2024 paperwork. Everything that's not 2024 paperwork, put it in another pile. That's going to be 2023 to, I don't know, do the math. Start small. Don't try to do it all. Start small. Don't do it all. Just starting. Maybe your 2024 paperwork. Notice how I'm doing this. We're taking 8 years into 1 year. Well, maybe 1 year feels still too overwhelming. Let's chunk it down. How about even this? I'm going to go right to the smallest chunk to me. What is your, no, not October. What is your November 2024 paperwork? Make a pile of the November paperwork. Anything with a November date, make a pile. Notice what we're doing. We're chunking down and we're categorizing. You've got November, and look, things are organically chunked down in so many areas of our world. Years into days and months and weeks, things like that. So, shadows and night. Could you play pattern matching with your brain and your eyes? And all you do is you quiet down the judgment part of you who's trying to make you feel bad about not dealing with it for 8 years. And just go in and say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play a game where all I'm doing is looking for things that came in 2024. Anything else just goes in another big yet smaller pile. And I'm just going to deal with the 2024, and then I'm going to work backwards. Then I'll go to that other pile and I'll say, okay, I'm just going to pull out the 2023s. And then lather, rinse, repeat. See what I did there? I'm like a bottle of Head and Shoulders. Okay, now Shannon, so notice the overwhelm. Everybody, not just the people who've mentioned it. Notice where you may be overwhelming yourself by just looking at the big picture too big. This is, again, I will use this as a decluttering opportunity, but also a life coaching and real world time thing. When you look at the entire country, when you look at an entire state, when you look at everything, it could feel ugh. But when you focus in maybe on your county, when you focus in on the way you voted, the way that you connect with your neighbors, when you chunk it down, that's where hope can live and encouragement can begin on that very small scale. So you can do this, but don't try to eat the whole elephant at one time. I mean, who the heck wants to eat an elephant? Chunk it down, and that's going to calm down the overwhelm, okay? The other thing, too, that's very common is Shannon says, I struggle with I may need this someday mentality. So yeah, if you think you may need it, then have an additional conversation with yourself. Now again, this does not apply as a blanket statement. You're going to pick up one thing. I may need this someday. Okay, what is this? What is this? What is this thing that I may need? Oh, it's a... I feel like I'm playing Mad Libs. Oh, it's a noun. Okay. When's the last time I used it? Insert date here. Okay. When's the next time I think I might need it to use it? All right. Pay attention to your answers. You can notice what we're doing. We're chunking it down and we're getting specific. We're not getting all generalize-y. You know? Sometimes people show up and they're like, all you have to do is get rid of what you don't like. Well, yeah, but have you ever tried that? That's the difficult part. And these thoughts of, I'm overwhelmed, I may need this someday, keeps you hanging on to stuff. Now, Tina is saying, where to begin? Where do I begin? The cool thing is, really, you begin today. It doesn't matter where in your house you begin. There's many ways you can begin. You can start. The best thing to do is just start. Now, here, I'll give you a couple of ways you can start. You can start with 3 levels of clutter: surface, stored, sentimental. Start with the easy stuff. Start with the stuff that's on a surface. Start with the simple things and start in one room of your home. Pick a room, pick a surface, and declutter the stuff on that surface. Okay? No, Adelicia says, I have so many clothes that I won't wear again. I'm holding on to them. Okay. Adelicia, you're not alone. A lot of us, many of us, have that same situation. I just want to offer to you that what I have found as a decluttering life coach and my own self is to sit with yourself and listen to the story your head and heart is telling you about that category of clothing. I have clothes. I have clothes that I will wear again, and then I have clothes that I won't wear again. See what I did there? I chunked it down. So now we're just looking at the clothes I won't wear again. And I'm going to get curious. Why am I struggling to remove these clothes that I know in my head I'm not going to wear again? Why am I not going to wear them again? And don't be judgy. Do not judge yourself. Do not be like, well, that's because I gained so much weight, or, well, whatever it is. Just get curious. Do not judge. Get curious. And listen to your heart. Why aren't you going to wear those? Oh, well, they don't fit my body anymore. My body has changed and my clothes stayed the same. Listen to your answers, and they're all valid. Do not shame yourself for hanging on to stuff, but it's going to feel so much more difficult. And if you keep on looking outward, you're not going to find the answer. You need to look inward. You got to go look inward and ask yourself the question and give yourself the time and space to listen for the answer. Okay? So notice that. That's what you can do. All right, now what do we have here? I'm backing up. I'm backing up. Okay. Maddie says, every time I declutter, I end up needing it the week after, so I get nervous. Okay. I want to share with you guys a coaching clue. I will share one of my secrets in knowing what to do. I like to think of, so I'll set it up. I'll kind of back up for a moment. I like to think of me being in the driver's seat of my car, of my life. You are in the driver's seat of your car. Now, we think we're alone. We think we're alone now. We think we're alone. No. Because you know what you have? You have invisible passengers with you. You've got your co-pilot next to you, and you've got a little kid in the back seat. I call them your backseat driver. So your backseat driver and your co-pilot are basically my personifications of the thoughts that go through your head, because they are saying something in your head to you, in your ear, that's going to make you feel a feeling. Now, your backseat driver is going to, or especially, here's a fun thing, because Christine's on here. She's got a little rebel in the backseat who's like, oh yeah, whatever, wearing a little baby pleather jacket, smoking a little candy cigarette while she's strapped in the car seat. I know when the backseat driver is talking because they tend to sound like a little kid. And how do I mean this? They tend to talk in absolutes. Always, never, every time I declutter, says Maddie, every single time I declutter, I have ended up needing it the week after, so I get nervous. This is when I like to just be a kind of a loving, curious Perry Mason. Ba, ba, ba. I used to like the theme song to that black and white TV show. And I will just say, is that really true? Now, I'm not saying it hasn't happened occasionally. I will give you that. It has happened to me. I know I did a TikTok video about it. But it does every time you declutter, it happens? Well, maybe not every time, but it has happened to me before. Okay, so it isn't every time. It's sometimes when I declutter. Notice the difference. The absolutes keep you stuck. Oh no, if I declutter, inevitably, there's going to be something I need the next week. It may happen, but also maybe the way you've decluttered, you didn't take into consideration what you might need in the future. Look back on that specific instance and find out when it's going to happen. I can scroll back on my TikTok videos and find out what it was for me. I can't even remember at this point. You know why? Because I got over it. I don't know. I figured out what to do instead or what to use. Okay? So notice the absolutes, the always, the never, the black and white thinking. That is your little co-pilot. That's your backseat driver talking. How I talked, like that really kind Perry Masonry, is the co-pilot voice. Just turning around being like, is that really true? You never let us go to McDonald's. Ah! No, is that really true? No, we have gone to McDonald's. I have a list of dates right here of when we've done that. So nice try, Miss Drama Queen in the backseat, but you're just misinformed. That's not true. I have the facts right here. So notice that. Okay, so Shadows Night, I have to do my taxes 3 or 4 years first. Okay, do your taxes. Do your taxes. Categorize out your paperwork and notice the papers you're saving. There are very few papers you really need to do your taxes. I will share this with you guys. I've learned that myself. At the end of the day, I have simplified it so much for my husband because he has a folder A folder that has a pocket here and a folder that has a pocket here. Any of the paperwork, 2 categories of paperwork. Papers that are evidence of money I made and papers that are evidence of money I spent. And, even better yet, evidence of money I spent on things that I can deduct from my taxes. Boom. It doesn't have to be as complicated as you think. I like to simplify things because it makes me feel better. Where I'm like, really? That's all we're looking for? Yeah. Here's a receipt from something that's a business expense. Here is a stub from a check somebody wrote you. You know? Yes. And paperwork gets it. There we go. I love it. Christine chunked it down last night and researched what to do with all the used light bulbs I'm collected. I love it. Over the year and came up with a plan for disposing of them, executing today. Rock on, lady. And I love it. You say Beth makes it fun. I love the fact that we work together, and I can always imagine your little backseat rebel who's pretended to smoke and be like Pinky Tuscadero. Okay, now Disa Marie has shared something. It got hidden, but I unhidden it so I can find it right here. So let me back it up. And what do we say? Yes, backwards sounds like a good start. I hit a mental freeze. I need to break through. Yeah. All right, if you're frozen, warm up, relax, soften. Shake it off. Drink some water. Drink some hot tea. That will unfreeze you. Get moving. Get moving when you're stuck. Even just moving your human body. You know, wave your hands in the air like you just don't care. Shake it off. Get yourself moving. You know? Now, Disa Marie says, my mother-in-law's a hoarder but won't let her family help her. Yeah. Here's the thing with trying to help other people. I know she feels attracted to her stuff, but it's not safe. Okay, yeah, this is a thing. This is a thing. Notice how there are people that feel so fearful that they hang on to way too much stuff that it can become a safety issue. Now, I am not somebody who is trained to professionally work with true hoarders, because that is a what do you call it? Diagnosis in the DSM-5. That is something that somebody with more formal training for mental health might be able to help her with. But here's the sad reality of it, is you can't help somebody who doesn't want help. You cannot change somebody who does not want to change. However, Disa Marie, if it's a health, you may need to force it with Health and Human Services. But before you do that, maybe showing up and asking her if she needs help. How can you help her? And just offer up that loving, patient, kind, how can I help you? That's what I do every day when I sign on to my TikTok lives. I show up, I say, how can I help you? And when you're ready for help, you will ask me. You will feel safe enough to say, well, I with this. The other thing, Disa Marie, though, and I will say this too, and I say this because I'm Gen X, and we are the world. We are the double stuff in the Oreo cookie, because we have the cookie on the top, which is our parents-in-law and old people that we are somehow connected to, that when they pass, we will probably have to deal with their stuff. Anybody? Sound familiar? Okay. Then we are the double stuff. We are the tasty stuff in the middle, but we also have been around for decades. So we have our own stuff to deal with, both, mentally, physically, emotionally, and clutter-wise. And there's that bottom cookie, where there's that next generation, the younger kids, that we hopefully do not want to be having them go through with clutter what we are going through with clutter because of our thoughts and feelings and what has happened before us. Okay? There we go. Now, this is interesting. 1138 says, for my motivation, I think, what if surprise company came over? What would I freak out about? Yes. Notice what you're asking yourself is identifying what would make you freak out, and then you can start there. Yeah. Okay. And Adelicia, I'm just catching up on these. A lot of these comments come after I've said my piece, but I just want to know, I fight and judge with my thoughts. Okay. Here's how I used to do that too. I used to be like, shut up. No, God, we just have to barrel on through. This is why I love that picture of being on a road trip with people. If you're the driver and somebody's being a jerk in the back seat, you could turn around and say, shut the F up. But then what's going to happen is you're going to get silence, but that silence is not going to feel good. You will be moving forward, but the whole time you're waiting for that silence to kind of, as Elliott Smith once said, it's going to bottle up and then explode. Instead, though, why not take the time? Okay, if somebody's pitching a fit in the back seat and being mean, pull the car over, stop, turn around, and in your loving co-pilotness, or learn from your co-pilot, who's pure love, who's God, who's the universe, who's spirit, who's your good person. This is how I endeavor to show up. I'm endeavoring a lot today. I don't know why that's my verb, but it is. I try to show up in the spirit of love and curiosity and compassion and kindness. And so I will turn around to the little kid in the back seat and be like, okay, what's the deal? Why are you being so mean to yourself? Why? Is that making yourself feel better, to yell at yourself and to make yourself feel bad that your butt's not as small as it was 10 years ago? Is that really helping? No. It still makes you feel crappy, huh? You're beautiful no matter how big your butt is. It is. I like big butts and I can't deny, you know? You have a loving conversation with yourself and try to make that little kid feel better, you know? So don't fight and judge with your thoughts. It will make you feel crappy. Take the time to pull the car to the side of the road. Take the time and find out why you are being, what are the thoughts? Write down the thoughts that you're thinking, you know, you're being so judgy about, you know? So, yeah. Now, I am backing up. Lori Hanna, nice to see you. Lori Hanna, Beth is a great coach. I would have been overwhelmed, but now I have new thoughts and skills. Yeah. You know what? Me too. Me too. And when I feel better, I'm doing better. And when I'm doing better, I am showing up to help other people who may not be doing as well. This is the great thing. It's not about me. It's about we. When you are feeling better, when you learn how to help yourself, you also are better prepared to help take care of others. You know? Now, I am backing up here. Okay. I love it. T. Kelly, you know, K-Tel. that's what it looks like. I categorized what papers were important, kept, recent. Anything passed by a year or more, I trashed. Yeah. You know? I love it. Now, user 8274 says, garage is filled with stuff and no room for vehicles. Midwest winter is coming around the mountain. When she comes, yeah, Midwest winter is around the corner. Okay. Now, notice, this is another thing, the generalizing of the backseat driver. And you're true, though. Yeah, like, the garage is filled with stuff. I get it, stuff. Let's get specific. What is the stuff? What is some of the stuff? Not all of it. You could make a laundry list. What is the stuff that's in the garage? Write it down. What do you want to do with some of that stuff? Again, notice, not all of it, some of it. What's one item in the garage? Notice how we're really chunking it down to one item. What is one item in the garage that's taking up space? And when it's taking up space, you can't put your car in there, that you want to remove, but you're struggling with. Throw it in the comments. Now, this is interesting. LA64367 says, took a ton of things the other day to the thrift store, stuff from the garage. The guy swore at me who took it out of the car. You know what? It's all about him and nothing about you. Don't worry about it. Now, T. Kelly says, I've realized I get my habits. No, you got your habits from my parents and how I was raised because my mom kept a lot of paperwork. Yeah, I got my, no lie, we all, think about it, we all look to the people that surround us on how to live and how to think and how to do things. I grew up with cluttered people who grew up from cluttered people who grew up with poor cluttered people. So you hung on to stuff because you may not have the money to buy it if you need it. So you just kept it. And then there are barns full of stuff. Now, the world is different. You can change that. Just because it's the way you were raised, you don't have to keep on thinking that way and feeling that way. You can change that whenever you want to. Now, I changed the way I thought and felt about clutter and stuff and money and collecting and all sorts of things. I've done that, and it's an incremental process. But man, I feel better. Knowing that I don't have to be surrounded by stuff that I don't want. Yeah. You know? Hey, Judy, one victory since listening. My junk drawer has stayed organized for 2 weeks. Okay, I'm going to give credit where credit is due, Judy. Your junk drawer has nothing to do with it. Your junk drawer is just there. It hasn't stayed organized. You have kept your junk drawer organized. Take some credit for that. High five. Liz Lemon, high five yourself for that. Yeah. It doesn't happen by magic. You are making it happen. We all, every day are doing things to create the world we live in. Are you creating a kitchen with a junk drawer that's neat? Or are you throwing stuff in it? You know? Yep. So notice these things, okay? Lori Hannah, okay, cool. I'm just catching up on stuff. As I said, there's a lot of comments today. Working on clothing, boxes and boxes and boxes. So I'm chunking it down by separating pants, tops, etc. I love it. And yes, one lucky lady, we're all in this together. We are all in this together. I only speak to a micro percentage of people in the U.S. because I show up and do these TikTok lives. And I have my one-on-one clients, and I've got a few thousand people on my mailing list. I am guaranteeing you that every single state that I look at on this map, there are thousands, if not millions of people struggling with clutter, but they don't know what to do. They don't know there's help. They just feel crappy, and they start doing the same old things. They keep on buying stuff to make them feel better. You know? There we go. T. Kelly says, turn my buffet into a desk for labeled folders, and now my living room feels so good now. I love it. I love it. Sorry, had to get rid of something. Okay, so, this is, okay, here's a funny thing I'm going to share with you guys, an inside joke that my husband and I were doing as I'm scrolling to find comments, because there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of wheat, there's a lot of chaff that goes on my end when I'm trying to do this, so I'm trying to pick out the good ones. So, do you guys remember the Spider-Man theme song? Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can, spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes Spider-Man. Do not worry, I will not sing the whole song. She's going to sing the whole song. My husband, we were going through the store and he picked up some Metamucil and we were like, Fiberman, Fiberman, does whatever a fiber can. So that's it. And I was doing my little like thinking music as I'm scrolling. Okay. Oh, okay, teacher. Hey, I love this. It's so good to hear from you. My mom felt like a failure at first, but now she feels like a burden has been lifted. Awesome. All right. Erin, you rock. I will see you after you get out of work. Love it. Yep. Okay. Questine says, tons of toys. Tons of toys. Is it really a ton? That's very heavy. Tons of toys my son barely plays with in drawers that are hard for him to get in and out of. Okay, notice a couple of things that are happening right there. This is when I love that there are so many different things at play, but it's cool. Get curious about one of the reasons he may not play with them is because it is hard to get him to get in and out of the drawers. So this is, as I like to say, how your home looks, how it functions, and how you want to feel in it. The functionality isn't working well because the toys are in drawers and it's hard to get them. But also, please, everybody, notice how a quantity, too much of anything can overwhelm all of us. Do not overwhelm little kids with too much. You feel like it's love, but sometimes it can shut them down. They don't know what to play with. A few toys allows them to get into it and really play with it. But if you came from lack and you feel like the best way to love up on your kiddos is to give them what you didn't have, which was all the things, I love where that's coming from, but just know that that may cause clutter problems down the road for you and for your kiddo. Okay? Yeah. Okay, so there we go. Junk drawer, junk cabinet, closet junk, all sorts of things. I love it. Badass yoga teacher says more than 4 of the same thing. Out the door. Out the door. There we go. I had a red Christmas box, and while out of town, spouse dumped it out and used the box to put everything in. Okay, here's the thing, and here's the thing about respect, and respecting where you are, is notice how other people react to your stuff. He may not have, and I'm saying, LA says, I had a spouse, I'm being like boy, girl, I'm just going there. I had read, and use the box, put everything in it. Okay. What I want to offer is don't declutter somebody else's stuff. Keep your eyes on your own stuff. And I say this too in LA, I'm sorry that they emptied out your box to put their stuff in. Having a conversation about, hey, don't do that again, please. All right. So, do. Okay, good. We're catching up because I just saw Fiberman laugh at my Fiberman here. Okay. Backing up. All right. Yeah. Professional cleaner, top rated, but your house is a mess. You know why? It's because you can't hear the stories that the co-pilot and backseat driver are talking about in somebody else's house. To you, it's just stuff. Notice how easy it is to organize and declutter or whatever when you don't hear those stories. However, your brain and heart are on the frequency where you can hear the stories. Your stuff talks to you. My stuff talks to me. And so it is much more difficult to declutter or clean when it's like a party going on, because there's a constant, what about this? What about that? Where does that go? I remember I should give it to me. This is why we talk about calming down your backseat driver. Because they're like, no, fear, guilt, shame, blah, blah, blah. It's really hard to declutter with that in your head the whole time. That's why some people put on music or headphones. Other times I say, breathe and calm down and get to the root of it. It is not surprising that you can deal with somebody else's stuff more easily than you can deal with yourself. I literally just made a list for my husband about stuff that was bugging me down the basement that was his. I also have my own list. It's much shorter though. So, yeah. Notice this. Okay. Lori says, wicked good question. Lori says, how do I let go of all the collectibles I have inherited? I feel so guilty. Okay. All right. So what I want to offer is, as a recovering collector, as I like to joke, I enjoyed the collecting process. I loved finding something I was interested in, and it was fun to play pattern matching and finding more things. Oh my gosh, there's a snow dome, and there's a snow dome, and there's a vintage postcard, and there's a vintage postcard, and there's a thing. That process of collecting was fun. The collection itself was kind of an afterthought, but also kind of the evidence of, look at me, I found all this cool stuff. So the collecting is personal to the person who does the collection is personal to the person who does the collecting. To anybody else, it's just a bunch of teapots. It's just a bunch of this. Note this thought. The person who did the collecting really enjoyed it, but it doesn't mean you have to. No, you are allowed to be interested in what you're interested in, just like they were interested in what they were interested in. You are just as important as them. Just because they died and left you all their stuff doesn't mean you have to keep it, and it does not mean you did not love the person who did the collecting. Now, I say this from firsthand experience. I loved my dad. I love my dad. My dad collected stuff I had no interest in. Paintings of dead birds and decoys and, I don't know, boy stuff. I didn't like it. Doesn't mean I didn't like my dad. It also doesn't mean that I'm disrespecting him if I say, I don't want this stuff, but you know what? I bet there's somebody out there who might. So I have been honoring his legacy by finding good homes for the things that he enjoyed, but I don't. You can do the same with that stuff. You do not have to keep stuff that you don't like. That's a really powerful lesson. You are allowed to. I give you permission, if you're not giving it to yourself, to release what you don't like, what doesn't make you feel good. Your body does this every day. Fiberman, you know where I'm going. Your body, you eat, you bring something in, it takes what is useful, it gets rid of the rest. Use that concept in your home. What's the shit in your home? What's the crappy stuff? What's the stuff that makes you feel bummed out? Look at all these words that make us feel that way. Okay? So, Lori says, my dad has over 50 antique banks. Cool. Maybe they're all filled with money. If he enjoys them, let him enjoy them. When he's gone, and here's another, like, to my Gen Xers, if the people in your life, the elders in your life, do not want to change, don't try to change them. If they don't want to, it's going to be a fight. However, asterisk, exclamation point, however, make a plan for their stuff. What are you going to do with their stuff after they are gone? Okay? What do you want of theirs? It can be some, it can be none, it can be all. That decision is up to you. You know, Carla Jane, I just see you popping it up. Tenacious J just said, what was the beginning of the fiber analogy? I was just talking about how your body, as a human creature, you take what you need and you release the rest. Like you poop out the stuff that you don't want. Clutter is not the good stuff in your home. Clutter is the stuff that you don't want, but you're afraid to release. Okay? So that's where it is. Okay, and I just lost my mom, and now I have all his stuff plus hers. I get it. It can be a lot. Decide what you want, Lori. Start there. That's where I would say, do you want any of this? Now, I'm backing up a little bit here. Yeah, the other Lori says, I've decided I will part with a lot of collectibles I inherited. Nobody wants them. And here's the thing, you guys. I will share with you. If you're listening to me, you are ahead of the curve as far as dealing with clutter. I know this about myself. I tend to be an early adopter. I have the sense of when something might, be big. Start finding homes for the things you don't want sooner rather than later, because as soon as all the regular people find out about this, they're already starting. The places that would take it, the antique places, the libraries, the thrift shops, they will become overwhelmed with these things, and they may say no. So get your stuff in before they close the doors. Okay? I love it. Janet Thomas, retiring at the end of the year. I have decluttered and organized desk drawers, and it's so motivating. Now, the neat thing is, Janet, enjoy it. I set up your retired life so it looks like you want it to look, it functions like you want it to function, and you feel like you want to feel there. There we go. Let's see what we got. What else do we have here? Questine says, I've been watching your lives daily for a few months now, and my life has changed so much. I'm glad to help. I am. Yeah. This is what we go. This is how we do it. Yeah. Claiming. There we go. There's Carla Jean. I do it. Yeah, there is somebody else out there who would love the connection. Yeah. Does it help to get a storage unit, says WST Wendy? Sometimes. Storage units can be helpful temporarily. But this is what I want to offer. Sometimes you will spend a shit ton of money on a storage unit because you're avoiding the decluttering. You're avoiding making decisions. Other times you have storage units because you have made a decision that you want to keep things, but your temporary situation means that you can't keep it in your current home. I know this because when I used to work, I remember once I had to live with roommates for a while when I was managing a Pier 1 down in North Dartmouth, Massachusetts, and I had stuff from my apartment, but then when I moved down to the southern part of Mass, I had to put some of my stuff in storage. It was temporary, but I had made a decision that I wanted to keep that stuff. And then once I got promoted again, I removed that stuff and I moved to another apartment. Okay? And Carla Jane is totally here to help everybody who has been stuck with stuff from somebody else because she's digging out her own mom's house. Yes. So read with her. There we go. I love it. Laura Gibbon Voorhees, you are on a roll. I gifted an extra blood pressure machine yesterday. Today, somebody's taking my extra cleaning stuff. Yeah. Cookie shapes, I get you. My son passed away. I'm keeping everything of his. I don't care. I don't care either. Do it. Do it. Okay. And, yeah, you know what? Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. You know what? Tenacious J, what do libraries accept? You know what? This is the wonderful thing. I live in Pennsylvania, and I have a library literally 2 blocks from me. My library may keep different things than yours does. Okay? Ask your library, what do they accept? You may be surprised. You may be surprised. Yeah. Um, Now, just so somebody knows, I bet you guys are watching the comments, and I am too. There are over 100 people here, and I am scrolling through to find comments. The way that the comments appear to me are kind of in chronological order, but then when I sometimes go to swipe up to keep it in chronological order, the way that TikTok does it is it jumps to the most recent one. So in order for me to find comments, I back up. Okay? When I do that, sometimes I miss comments. Now, I will be honest with you. Sometimes I do, and it's unintentional, so do not take offense. Other times, depending upon the comments, I totally skip by it. Just so you know. Yeah, there we go. Mama D is constipated with clutter. Yeah, it is. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Keep what makes you happy. Laura Given Voorhees, yes. If it makes you happy, keep it. I want to get rid of enough junk so I have room for the good stuff. Yeah, I am totally there with you, you know? And so notice, the reason we hang on to things is because they make us feel a feeling. The feeling depends. We might be scared of letting go. We're afraid of forgetting somebody who's no longer here. We're afraid of losing money. Ooh, that might be worth something someday. There's a lot of fear in unexamined clinging on to stuff. You're clinging on to a way of thinking. You're clinging on to an item. I just offer for you, this is what I do, to just look at what you're hanging on to and get curious about why you're hanging on to it. And when you understand why you're hanging on to it, make a decision informed by that information as to if you're going to keep it or not. That's all this is. Really, it's that simple. What is this item? Do I want it or not? Answering that question, what do I want? What does this item give me? What does keeping this item give me? What does releasing this item give me? And then I pause and I ask you to listen for your own answer. Okay? Yep. Good morning, good morning. So Laura, you're asking what time are my daily lives? Different times. So I am an East Coast person. You can probably hear it in my voice. Different times every day. They are. What I will offer to you, though, the serious, Lori, is the people who know when my TikTok lives are the people on my mailing list. My mailing list is free, so I don't mind telling you about that because I don't want you to think, oh, I got to sign up for it. She's asking me for money. Sign up for my mailing list at my website. My website is destinationdecluttered.com. And you'll see a thing that says join. When you do that, you'll get an automatic thing that says, hey, here's where you find the schedule for the TikTok lives. And I'm just actually going to check myself because it's been quite a week. And so, for example, today is the last one that's officially on there now. That doesn't mean that in an hour or so, there might be some more ones listed. There will be. So the place where you go to access that information is constantly being updated. The other thing I do too, you might be interested in, is with the people on my mailing list, we do a once a month Zoom call. Again, it's free, just for the people on the mailing list though, and my clients. And what we have had some fun doing is doing what I call a decluttering party. Now, what does this mean? It means we all sign on to Zoom on a certain day and time. You have already picked out what you want to declutter, but you want some company while you're doing it. You can keep your microphone, well, no, don't keep your mic on, but you can keep your camera on or off. And then we all say, okay, I'm going to set the timer for 20 minutes. Then let's get to work. And you work on your thing in whatever state you are, in whatever state I am, and whatever time it is. And then after that 20 minutes, I'm like, okay, you guys, 20 minutes, take a break. How'd that feel? Anybody stuck so I can help you? If not, let's go another 20 minutes. And it can be fun to have some real-time friends who are going through the same stuff you are, you know? So a lot of the stuff I do is free for my people on my mailing list. The best people, though, the people who get like the primo everything, are my paying clients. I do one-on-one coaching with people across the country. Actually, it's really fun. Okie Teacher. I have a map of the U.S. and I have some little smiley stickers. And I get to put a little smiley face on the state of Oklahoma now because I have a client in Oklahoma. Yeah. So, yes, it's like a declutter buddies type of thing. Judy says it was fun last month. Okay, and it sounds good. Judy said it was fun. It is fun, you know? Yeah, and I love it. And Carla says, y'all, because she's from Alabama, I'm from Mass, now I live in PA. Y'all, each time we have done a party, solutions have been shared that help each time. We are all here to help each other. Lori Hannah says, join the mailing list. It's so worth it. Yeah, seriously. Just go to destinationdecluttered.com and sign up. It's free, you know? So this is what we're here for, okay? Now, I love it. T. Kelly says, I donated living room and kitchen decor, mostly farmhouse. I feel good knowing others can now enjoy it, you know? And how fun is this? Laura Gibbon Voorhees says, I subbed for a music teacher this morning and I gifted a drum practice pad I no longer needed. Yeah, musical instruments. Here's a wonderful thing. Instead of being greedy, you can still keep exactly the right amount of things you need for you and help other people with your abundance. Decluttering is an act of sharing what you have with other people. You're making yourself feel good, yes, because you know why you don't feel good because of clutter? Because you have too much. It's not like I say, get rid of everything and go back to empty. No. But you don't feel good because you have too much. You can remove the too much and help other people with that. The clothes you're not wearing, the food that you can donate to a food pantry, you know, the mittens and the scarves and the shoes and the clothing and the drum pads and the whatever. You are so lucky to have clutter because there are people out there who don't have anything. You can help those people and yourself by sharing your abundance. Now, you're going to get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm good. I now have, kind of in that Goldilocks way, the right amount. I don't have too much. I don't have too little. I have just right. But notice your fear of having none may keep you hanging on to stuff and not sharing what you have. That's a lack mindset, we call it in the biz. But just know that your clutter isn't your good stuff. Your clutter is the stuff that you don't want anyway, but you're struggling to get rid of it. Okay? So you can help other people while you're helping yourself. And it feels good to help other people. You know? And this is fun. Okie teacher and I, we only met officially, I don't know, a couple days ago, maybe. And she says, Beth helped me get rid of school stuff when I retired from teaching. I show up in the spirit of your co-pilot. They joke, God is my co-pilot. This is me channeling the good stuff of humanity. Is saying, you deserve to live a life that feels good to you, but ideally not, you know, at the expense of other people. That you have such great stuff. You have more than enough. But that more than enough is not lifting you up. It's weighing you down. So just start to remove what no longer fits, what you don't want. Share that with other people when you're able to. You will start to feel more buoyant. It's like being in a boat that's weighed down with all sorts of stuff you don't need. And then you're going to get to the point where you're not going to offload everything. No. You're just offloading the stuff that you don't want anymore. And when you feel better, you're going to do better. And you're going to realize it's kind of intoxicating. There's a dopamine rush about getting the stuff away that you don't want. It's relief. It's like your body is pooping it out. You know? So yeah, this is all sorts of good stuff. Pamela Rod says, closet has been a work in progress. We're all a work in progress. This week, 1 to 2 hours each night this week. We'll finish tonight. Rock on, Pamela. I will do one more pass through and I'll be done. I love it. Lori, I'm glad this helped you. If you're interested, get on the mailing list. If not, I do TikTok lives. You'll probably find me. Dawn gave a slow cooker, pillowcases, and a big bag of rice to the Nextdoor app and gave me space, and now that person's happy. Yeah. Cool. Tracy, just signed up for your emails. Thank you so much. Looking forward to joining future Zoom calls. Okay. I love that. I look forward to you joining that one too. I believe it's going to be on Sunday, the 17th. And the other thing, there's another cool thing about the email mailing list is that these TikTok lives that I do are recorded. I download them from TikTok and I upload them to Destination Decluttered on YouTube. Now, there are over 480 videos they're available to. Not to overwhelm you, just to know that there's plenty to choose from. and I have organized them by month. Excuse me. What I have done is I've organized those. By month so that you can easily find them. But the people on the mailing list get first dibs. Remember we used to say that? I get dibs on that. I hosey that. That's what we used to say when we were kids. You get first dibs on the most recent ones because you're on the mailing list. Everybody else who's not on the mailing list can only see the ones from like October and before. But now the November ones that I'm starting to download and upload, those are available for you to listen to while you're decluttering. Maybe you listen to it while you're in the car driving around. Think of it as like a really cheapy way to do a podcast, you know. I got to do a podcast, but man, have I been distracted lately, you know. Okay, so Tenacious J, I love it. I'm Tenacious B, nice to meet you. A lot of my clutter is the good stuff that hasn't gotten unpacked. Okay, so maybe you unpack the good stuff. Okay. D. Murray, I have so much I need to declutter. I'm kind of frozen. Where do I start? You start by unfreezing yourself. How do I do that? Freeze is that kind of fight or flight or freeze, is that your nervous system has been activated. So let's calm your nervous system down, slow it down, calm it down, chunk it down. There's a video I did when I said stressed out that really walks through those things. I literally made a checklist. Slow down, sit down, put your feet down, slow your breathing down, breathe down to the bottom of your lungs. I just use the word down. Calm down your nervous system. Know that there's no wrong place to start. There's no right place to start. All there is starting. And we do this every day we wake up. We get out of bed, we start. But when you start and you know where you're going, that can help you stay the course to where you want to go. Okay, T. Kelly, I hope you have a great day as well. I got like 3 minutes left here. I'm going to have a great day. You know why? Because I have some ideas and I have written down the stuff I want to do. Yeah, okay. LA, is like perfectionist a thing? If I can't do it perfect, I won't do it. But there isn't a right or wrong. There's no perfection. No, there's no perfect. So don't even aim for perfection because it's not there. You will never get there. And you're going to bum yourself out trying. There's only better. There's only progress. There's only improvement. There's only feeling better and doing better. Okay? So perfection is a wolf in sheep's clothing. You know? A perfection is just not even something I talk about because it doesn't exist. It just exists to bum you out. Okay? No, I love this. I love that user 40924 says, cleaning out my pantry while I hear you. And thank you. You're welcome. I love it when people say that I am kind of chatting in the background as they are doing decluttering or just kind of household maintenance, dishes and laundry and stuff like that. So I'm glad to help you with that. Christine, always a pleasure. Laura Gibbon Voorhees is saying, I am amazed at the things folks will take from my local community gifting group. Look today to see if your local community has a gifting group, a Facebook marketplace, a free page, a free cycle. If you have stuff you don't want that still has useful life in it, offer it up. People might want it. And Carla Jane, you're so right. Oops, sorry, TikTok is giving me a little puzzle to do. I know, I get 2 minutes, please. Live the uncluttered, free life your loved ones couldn't. Honor them by living how they couldn't. Yes, I am doing that, and I love that. BDB4 Texas says, listening to you is therapy. Thanks for all your advice. Thank you. Yeah, and I love it. You recently inspired me to throw out some Old Spices. I inspired me to throw out some Old Spices. Not do. Is that the Old Spice commercial? Yeah, Old Spice. Who wants to smell like Old Spices? It's so funny. That smell reminds me of my dad. So thank you for making me remind me of my dad. Okay. Jennifer Smith says, ideas where open body creams, etc. can be donated or just trashed. What I would offer is, I don't know if they can where you are, try a local women's shelter. Ask them, Google, do you take opened creams and things like that? The one thing I would be concerned about is germs and things that have decomposed. Sometimes you do need to trash things. Okay? But find out about that. There we go. Amelia Reel says, I love having you as background music while I tidy up the house. There we go. There we go. I wanted a smaller trash can in my kitchen. I got my hacks out and shortened it and recycled it myself. I love it. See, we can do things. We're doing good stuff. You know what I'm going to do, y'all? I'm going to sign off now. I've got some decluttering I'm going to do for myself. I'm going to go to a library. I'm going to get a book. I'm going to see what my husband's done with his list of stuff. We have some things we need to do down the basement. And I'm going to add some TikTok lives to the schedule that people on the mailing list can access. So if you're interested in knowing when my next TikTok live is going to be, frankly, I'm kind of interested in it too because I have to figure it out. But as soon as I figure it out, you know who finds out the first is the people on the mailing list. So destinationdeclutter.com. Join. Pretty easy. All right. I hope this has been helpful to you. This is the only reason I show up. I show up to help. I don't show up to hurt. I show up to encourage. I don't show up to discourage. And I want you to take care of yourself, but also take care of others. Okay? And I will see you the next time. And yes, Christine, do not worry. I will take care of my West Coast peeps. All right? Have a good Friday, y'all. And I'll see you the next time I see you.